War drums are beating in the Middle East this morning after Israel launched a second attack on Syria in as many days. Syrian activists claim this video shows a series of Israeli airstrikes targeting an area west of Damascus early Sunday morning. Syria called it a, quote, act of war. It comes as the Syrian government wages a 2-year-long civil war with rebels determined to overthrow President Bashar Assad. Republican Congressman Mike Rogers told Bob Schieffer on Face the Nation that the United States has to act to stabilize the region.
I argue with U.S. leadership, and again, this is not boots on the ground, U.S. leadership through intelligence and training and other things, and coordination of their activities, which they're asking for, could be hugely helpful to bringing the regime down quicker, number one, and try to at least have a stabilizing force exist after this happens. And that's our biggest concern.
Well, CBS News foreign affairs analyst Pamela Falk is here to talk about the latest on this situation. I think I know for me it came as a surprise when I heard about the airstrikes over the weekend. So why now?
Well, there are a lot of things going on, and what Rogers also said in that interview was that there may be as many as 10,000 troops now outside the Syrian Free Army and the Syrian army in Syria. In other words, al-Nusra, the al-Qaeda group, is fighting alongside the Free Syrian Army. And what Israel was concerned about is almost 1/3 of Hezbollah's troops are now in Syria. So Hezbollah troops are pouring in on Assad's side. And so this attack was both bombings were to take out some of the weapons, the Fatah 100 missiles that were headed for Lebanon, for Hezbollah. And so they consider it, I mean, they haven't acknowledged that it happened, but Israel does consider it a threat to its security, and that's why now.
Right, you have all these other groups now possibly taking advantage of the chaos going on in Syria. So this wasn't exactly about the Syrian war, though it presented an environment that has allowed other groups to get in there. But could the airstrikes have an impact on the Syrian war? Could it be a turning point?
Yes, absolutely. It's a turning point in the sense that it is, regardless of everything else and the needs for it, it's a dramatic escalation. And it puts Syria in a position where Syria says it will retaliate, it says it's an act of war, but their army is degraded. And because of this fighting for so many years, and they now have to decide what they're going to do about Israel. Now, they do have missiles pointed at Israel, and part of the question is what kind of an impact does it have? The real point was it is a message to Iran, and that seems to be the big issue that doesn't seem on its face to be in this, and that's because Iran is supplying Hezbollah, Iran is supplying all of the other troops in order, and Hamas and other groups that attack Israel, and trying to keep Assad in power. And that's part of it. At the same time, they're developing nuclear weapons. Now, there is a meeting later in the month. We'll see how that goes with Iran, to see if Iran backs down a little bit, realizing how determined Israel is.
Right. So then I have to ask you, you say that Iran obviously plays a role. When we look at the region, is this the sort of thing that could destabilize the region? We're looking at a wider spread war.
Yeah, it's already wide, and that's part of the problem, is that President Obama has said it's unlikely that there would be U.S. boots on the ground, but it is much more likely that the international community will support, at least with military force, the armed rebels.
So what is America's position? We were, not too long ago, the whole discussion was about whether or not chemical use was occurring in Syria, whether or not that red line was crossed, and suddenly we have something else to discuss.
Well, I think those are going to happen simultaneously. Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, is now on his way to China, which is an interesting factor. It may make the UN move.
Pamela Falk, CBS News foreign affairs analyst, thanks again for joining us this morning.
Absolutely.